5 seconds, 4 seconds. And welcome to the Combat Press Midweek Report. I obviously have a smirk on my face because this is the second try. If you were with us earlier, which you probably weren't, we did a recap of UFC Fight Night 61 in Brazil. We're not going to redo it because it took us over a half hour before my computer crapped out. Before I get to anything, we're not going to talk about the recap, obviously. Just want to remind you, which I didn't do actually in the first broadcast, to go to combatpress.com for all your interviews, opinions, predictions, etc., etc. Follow Combat Press on Twitter at Combat Press. Follow me on Twitter because I'm amazing at Big Riles MMA. You can follow my co-host Matt Quiggins at QuigginsMMA.com. Matt, how you doing today?
Pretty good, huh? Again.
Yeah, we don't have to go away for the whole formalities. And joining us for another time, I think it was about his third or fourth time on the show.
Technically, it's third, considering the first one we just did.
There you go. It's his third time on the show. You can see him on Twitter at Dumas MMA. Is Wayne Dumas. Wayne, how's it going?
It's going.
All right. Well, folks, like I said, we're not going to do a recap today because of the technical malfunctions we had earlier. So we will talk about UFC 184, Bellator Invicta. We were going to talk about Legacy, but I'm cutting that out. We'll talk about an incident that happened on the YouTube, and then we'll talk briefly about wrestling. All right. UFC 184 takes place from Los Angeles this Saturday on pay-per-view. Headliner, the Women's Bantamweight Championship of the World. We'll start out at the bottom of the main card first. Wayne, we have a fight between Gleison Tibau, and I know you guys talked about this already, so you got smirks on your face. Fight between Gleison Tibau and Tony Ferguson. Break it down, and who you got?
I think Tony Ferguson's going to come forward. Pressure. I think he's got a real unorthodox striking style to him. I think he'll give Tibau a little confusion with the crazy punches he throws, and I take Ferguson.
Sounds good. Quiggins, what do you got on this fight?
Well, we were talking about this, and Tibau, just had a fight January 18th. It's coming off a pretty short turnaround. That being said, I still think it's time for Ferguson. Tibau, he's got a tough chin, and he did get knocked out by Michael Johnson, and I do think that Ferguson has more power than him, but it's going to be whether or not he can land it. And like Wayne was saying, as far as the crazy striking, it's going to throw Tibau for a loop, but there hasn't been a lot that Tibau hasn't seen, so it'll be an interesting fight either way.
Yeah, I'm going to go and focus on the counter wrestling of Tony Ferguson. Something everyone always forgets is he is a good wrestler, and Tibau's main weapon is to grind, clinch, and take down. But yeah, I'm going to make it three of a kind. I think Ferguson has the superior skill set, and I don't know if he's going to get the finish because Tibau's pretty durable. Yeah. But it should be an interesting fight, and I'm kind of looking forward to that one, actually. Kind of an underrated main card bout. The next one we got coming up is a welterweight bout between RFA veteran Ellen Joban and the Ultimate Fighter Nations veteran, not Patrick Walsh, like Quiggins said last week. It's actually
2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago.
Well, oh no, it was no, you're right. It was 2 weeks ago. I'm sorry. This is and now I'm drawing a blank because I don't have anything in front of me with my computer having died. It's Richard Walsh, Filthy Rich Walsh. So we'll start with Quiggins this time. Break it down for us.
Well, I picked the right Walsh this time, so that I'm talking about. I mean, both guys are coming. They're both coming off losses, but Wayne and I were talking about it too. They're controversial. Like we said, Joban got robbed. Hands down. I think Filthy Rich is going to take this one. Why? Because his name is Filthy Rich.
That's your reasoning. Okay, so we have Mr. Quiggins is going with Filthy Rich Walsh. Wayne, what do you got?
I got Joban.
Tell him why you picked Joban.
You guys buddies or something?
No, I'm on Wikipedia right now looking up that season, seeing if I could crack my brain around it. The reason I don't remember that season is because I didn't watch it. I didn't. The coaching for me didn't do it. I didn't like the combination of Cote versus Noak. That's the reason I didn't watch it. So that's why I'm going with Joban, because I don't know much about Richard.
I'm going to go with Dumas, but I'm going to put a little more reasoning behind it. Other than Mook and Cote were coaches on a season of the show, Joban has really good striking, and he's shown really good takedown defense in his last couple of fights. Richard Walsh's best option here is to take him down and clinch with him, but I think Joban's too quick and athletic and too technical at this point, and if Vorley Alves couldn't get him down, I don't think Richard Walsh is going to get him down. So I'm going to take Ellen Joban. So we have dissension with Quiggins, but I think it's again Quiggins taking him because he lives the filthy lifestyle just like he does. So we go on to the next bout. It is and again I don't have the paper in front of me. It's a welterweight. Yes, welterweight. I just got it. Oh, hey, host. It's a welterweight bout between Jake Ellenberger and Josh Koscheck, two guys who've probably seen better days. I'll start off my prediction here because I'll let you two start off with the last one. I think this is going to be a really bad fight in general. I think both guys are a little bit past their prime at this point, which is sad to think about because, it just seemed like yesterday Ellenberger was, the guy that was supposed to be the next big thing in the welterweight division. But I do think Ellenberger is going to get it done. I think Koscheck has a little more mileage on him at this point, and I think that his chin has been withered down a little bit, and he's not going to out-wrestle Jake Ellenberger. So I'm going to take Ellenberger by a yawner of a decision. How about you, Wayne?
Just for the fact that Koscheck has so much mileage on him, I think Ellenberger's going to be able to take it. I think it's going to be a decision, a nasty decision. I don't see a lot of action or excitement. But people underestimate Koscheck's wrestling. I don't think Ellenberger is going to be able to take him down. There's been one person and one person only that has been able to seriously take him down, and that was GSP.
Yeah. So you are also going to go with Ellenberger. Okay, cool. Quiggins, you have the last word here.
Well, I mean, we talked about this. Both of these guys, 3-fight losing streaks. Both of them, both have a loss to Robbie Lawler, and like you said, Koscheck's chin is whittled down to relatively nothing. I see it again. I don't see this being an exciting fight. It's really sad to say that with two guys that 3-4 years ago would have loved to see this fight. Now it just seems like two guys, them using name recognition to put them on a main card. Because I don't think they belong there, to be completely honest. But
so you're also going with Jake Ellenberger.
Yeah, and I think this is Ellenberger wins, Koscheck loses, and they're both done.
Both of them. Okay. I was going to say if Koscheck loses, I think he retires, but if Ellenberger loses, I think he's just cut. So going on to the co-main event, it's one of the many female fights going on this weekend, as we'll talk about in a little bit. Holly Holm makes her UFC debut undefeated against Raquel Pennington. Obviously, we all have some strong opinions about Holly Holm and how she's a great boxer and all that good stuff. But we'll start with Wayne because Holly Holm comes from his neck of the woods. So Wayne, what do you think about this fight?
I'm very intrigued by it. Thing about Raquel Pennington is she's taking on some tough fighters. She's taken on quite a few big names, and granted, she's lost to them, but those were losses she was supposed to have. Kat Zingano, Leslie Smith, Ajandre. Thing about Holly Holm is the camp. The camp's going to make a difference. I see that her wrestling is coming leaps and bounds. Her jiu-jitsu, her kickboxing is super overrated. Like the last 2 or 3 knockouts have been head kick knockouts.
So how did that make her overrated if they were head kick knockouts?
I mean, underrated.
Oh, underrated. I was gonna say.
Kickboxing.
I don't think her kickboxing goes overrated whatsoever.
No, it's underrated. Super underrated. Okay. The whole talk is, she's a 18-time boxing champion. Whoop-de-doo. It's the kickboxing that's the difference.
Yeah. So you're gonna take home by
head kick.
You're gonna say a head kick knockout. Wow, that's a hell of a prediction there. I'll take this one next quick, and I'll put you on the caboose there. I'm also going to take Holly Holm. I think that Raquel is tough, so she's going to be hard to put away. But, I don't think she has the takedown ability to put Holly on her back, especially considering how physically strong Holly is and how athletic and explosive she is. So I don't know if Holly might go to a decision on this one because I think Pennington's really scrappy and can take a licking. But yeah, I'm going to take home in this one. Possibly a late knockout, but I'm going to say probably by decision. Quiggins.
I'm going to be the third guy on the train. I mean, honestly, I think Pennington, she's very tough. She's very durable. We've already seen that, but she gets a little reckless.
Yep.
And I think with a few well-timed punches and even a head kick, as Wayne was saying, I think this could be a good fight. But I mean, it's also going to be tough for Holly because I don't know if she's fought anybody who's going to come at her with that much aggression.
Okay, so that's 3 men on board for Holly Holm, which brings us to our female main event. One of the biggest stars in the UFC, Ronda Rousey, defends her UFC Bantamweight Championship against her, well, as some are touting, her biggest challenger to date, which is usually what they say about the next challenger every time anyways. But in my opinion, probably the toughest one she's going to face so far in Kat Zingano. I'll start off with an analysis. Even though Zingano's a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I don't think she wants to grapple with Ronda Rousey. Ronda, I don't know if she actually has a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu ranking, but we've seen her grapple with some tough female grapplers, and she's made them look, silly. So that's going to leave her to the striking game, and I don't know if she's more powerful than Ronda, but I don't think she's better than Ronda on the feet. We've seen that in her last 2 fights. Ronda can leave herself open to get hit, but I don't think Zingano is technical enough or accurate enough to catch her flushly like that. So I don't know what type of finish it is. It might be a TKO, but I'm going to take Ronda to retain in this one and then eventually set up a super fight, which we might talk about later. Matt.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to see Zingano get the upset. I really would. I think it'd be interesting for the division, kind of get a new face. Do I really think that she has the tools to pull it off? No, and that's the thing, Rousey does leave herself open, but, she went from armbar, et cetera, to, her last 2 fights being less than 3 minutes combined with TKO wins. So, I mean, she's ever improving, and I think this is going to be her ultimate time to shine and set up, you already took the words right out of my mouth, something we'll talk about later.
Right.
So I'm picking Rousey.
So Ronda Rousey is the pick, and Wayne, you're the final thought here.
My heart wants to go with Kat because of what's gone on the last 18 months.
True.
I looked it up. She's got a purple belt under her husband, and that's the one thing that's everybody's gonna be like, oh, is she gonna get another armbar? No, she's not gonna get another armbar. Kat is highly skilled on the ground, but Ronda's too fast.
Yeah.
People don't understand how fast she really is until they're in that cage with her.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be the deciding factor. And Ronda's going to come out. I think it's going to last longer than a round, though.
Yeah, I would agree. I think I took it either in the second. I think I said the second round or the third round. I can't remember what I put down for the shameless plug Bleacher Report main card predictions. But yes, so everyone going with Rousey there. All right, so that's UFC 184 on pay-per-view. Just to kind of look through it real quick, though, is there a fight that you guys are interested in seeing outside of the main card? We'll start with Wayne this time.
Quite a few.
Just pick one.
You know what? Real quick, Lima versus Means. That's going to be a good fight. And if Kid loses again, he needs to walk away.
God damn it, I said take one, all right? So the Lima Means fight, I would agree with that. Quiggins, prelim card that you're looking forward to.
I was looking forward to the Krause fight. I'm a little surprised that he's on a fight pass. I mean, his last couple fights, the fight with Bobby Green, he took a couple nut shots, ended up losing when it, shouldn't have been that way. That's neither here nor there, but I'm excited for that because I think this will get him back on track.
All right, yeah, no, I would agree. I think the Krause fight, like we were talking about before the telecast, there's a lot of really good fights in the undercard. But what I'm looking forward to, because I think it's a guaranteed knockout, is Derek Lewis, Ruan Potts. I think Derek Lewis is not going to have a very difficult night here, and he's going to give one for the highlight reel. So I'm just excited to see what Derek Lewis does with those things he calls fists or soup bones. Okay, so that would be the end of the UFC 184 segment here. And because it kind of connects with the all-women's thing, we'll talk about Invicta 11. So really quickly, in the main event, we have Chris Cyborg taking on Charmaine Tweet for the 145-pound women's featherweight championship. We'll start off with Matt here. What do you see for this fight?
It's hard to say. I mean, Cyborg comes up the way she's been looking. Tweet's another physical specimen of. To be completely honest, she looks like a guy with that frame.
Jesus.
Hey, really? I'm not the only one who's ever thought that.
Okay.
That being said, Tweet is very experienced, but I think Cyborg's going to take this, and it'll just bring us one step closer to the fight that everybody wants to see in the first place.
Right, especially because it's in the same town. It's a little bit too much of a coincidence.
Yeah.
Wayne, how about what you have to say on this?
It's gonna be Cyborg all the way. I just don't see anybody beating her because she is half man. So
Jesus Christ, people! This is a PG. This is a PC environment, as they say.
If that were true, you would have got kicked off a long time ago.
Yeah,
right?
really.
That's true. I am the total opposite of PC. You people are right there, but I keep it clean for the show.
I didn't say anything offensive.
Whatever.
We're just saying what people are thinking, and that's our job.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to make it 3 in a row, not on the body analysis, but in the Cyborg winning analysis. I'd said this in the toe-to-toe that I had with Brian Henderson on combatpress.com that, last time I underestimated Charmaine Tweet, she was, this is my exact words from the article, she was bouncing Veronica Rothenhauser's head off the mat like a basketball, but I don't think she can do that with Chris Cyborg. I think she's going to keep this on the feet. She's too physically strong, I think, to get taken down, and I think she's going to put Charmaine down pretty quickly. And looking at the rest of the card, because I don't want to get too in-depth, there's only 8 fights anyways, what is the one fight, Wayne, one fight?
No, let me go first so he doesn't take it.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yes, Wayne, you're going last on this one, sorry. Quiggins, what's the one fight you're really looking forward to outside of the main event?
The Alexa Grasso fight. We talked about that last time, like when it was announced. I mean, the Alita Gray, she just made her look insufficient.
Yeah.
As a fighter. So I'm really excited to see, her next step and what she's going to do.
Yeah, and especially against a highly touted fighter like Mizuki Inoue, who actually has more experience as a girl who's actually younger, and it's hard to be younger when Grasso is only 21. I believe Mizuki's only 20. She might be still 19. I'm not 100% sure. The one that I'm looking forward to, and it's because I'm one of these snobby guys who likes stuff under the radar, is actually, no, I'm going to go with that. Irene Aldana. I'll stick with the Mexican fighter there. Irene is a power striker, and she gets a late notice opponent in Colleen Schneider, who's pretty underrated in my opinion. Don't look at her record and judge her, by that. So I think that's gonna be an interesting fight. If Schneider can get it down, we'll see if Aldana's got a ground game. But if she keeps it upright, Aldana is just a stud on the feet. And we'll see what happens. And you know that Schneider runs with Josh Barnett, so she's definitely got the skills on the ground to match. Wayne, what's the one that you're looking forward to?
I guess I'll take the last main card fight. Bennett versus Center.
Yeah.
I actually saw Center live at Legacy here in Albuquerque. Right. And she's tough. She's got some really good jiu-jitsu. She's young in her fight career with only 4 fights. So the ceiling's very high for Center. And Bennett, she's tough as nails, too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and I've talked to Deanna Bennett before. You would never think she's a fighter. She's the nicest lady ever. Yeah, it should be interesting because Bennett's making a drop to 115. So it'll be interesting to see how the weight cut goes because she wasn't a big 135er. That's why I thought 25 was her home, but she's trying out 15. And if she can safely make that cut, she is a shoo-in for the UFC if she can continue to perform at the level she was before. Okay, so that's Invicta 11. A lot of prospects on that card, so if you're not that familiar with women's MMA, check it out because you'll see some new names you may not have seen before. Obviously, if you're not me, because I watch way too much MMA. But anyways, when we'll get to the Bellator 134 card, and as I've called that in the past, it was called the British Invasion, but I now call it the Injury Invasion because this went from being an awesome card to a kind of a subpar card, in my opinion. We had a main event between Douglas Lima and Paul Daly for the welterweight title. Lima got injured, so that is no more. We were supposed to have Bobby Lashley versus James Thompson, but that somehow turned into King Mo versus Czech Congo. I don't really know how that worked out. And then we were supposed to have Michael Venom Page, who was probably the biggest draw on the card to the hardcore fan, taking on Curtis Millender, and now he's off the card due to a cut over his eye that he cannot compete with. So he takes on Brendan Ward instead. So this card really took kind of a hit. Let's just look at the main event, though. It's a light heavyweight title bout between Emmanuel Newton and Liam McGeary. So we'll start with Wayne. What do you see going for this fight?
I see Newton grinding out a win or doing one of his other spectacular knockouts. One or the other.
So you have Newton in this one?
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Newton. I think he's flown under the radar way too long. He's a little bit older, but he's winning, and when you win fights, you don't take as much damage.
Yep. So then, Quiggins, what do you got to say about that one?
So it's going to sound kind of biased because I just talked to McGeary this afternoon. But really, talking to him and just, doing the research on him, McGeary's 32, so, I mean, he's not that young either, but, 9 fights in, 9 finishes. Newton has relied a lot on his scrambles, getting out of, scrambles and making himself, wriggly, as McGeary said. And he said they train in a hot room when they do their jiu-jitsu, so someone being slippery isn't really going to be a problem for him. I think he's what Bellator needs as a light heavyweight champion. I love Newton. I have all the respect for the man. But, I mean, even in this fight with Linton Vassell, he was losing that fight, arguably. So that being said, I mean, I think McGeary is a tougher fight than Vassell will be, and I would not be surprised to see a new light heavyweight champion crowned on Friday.
I'm going to agree with Quiggins. I tried typing Newton in my Bellator predictions for BleacherReport.com, shameless plug, but I kept finding my fingers typing McGeary, and I was like, damn it, that's right. Newton a lot of times relies on just being a tough, never-give-up guy. And it ends up winning him fights because he can come back even when he's down. The Vassell fight, he was even arguably down in the Joey Beltran fight.
Yeah.
And, I think that Liam McGeary is not a guy you can get behind on the scorecards with because he is so dangerous on the feet. And he's even added a ground game. That inverted triangle choke that he put on Kelly and Nunson was a thing of beauty. I love Emmanuel Newton. He has been one of my cult favorites. But I just don't see how he can beat McGeary on the feet or on the ground, really.
Yeah, and I mean, the only thing I'd be concerned about at first was, McGeary's only been out of the first round once.
Right.
But that being said, in his third round fight, he finished the fight with 15 seconds. So he's always looking for the finish, and I think that's something that's going to be a little bit more dangerous for Newton.
Fair point. And Newton's actually is used to a 5-round fight, so and that might be his strategy is to just grind him out, which is how I could see him winning. That's why I had a tough time choosing here, but I eventually did go with McGeary, as you did as well. Mm-hmm. Start off with Wayne here. Is there another fight either on the main card or anywhere else on the card that you're really looking forward to for this Bellator 134 fight?
I'm excited to see what Paul Daly can do, being back in the States. Yeah. He was back in 2006, 2005. He was supposed to take the U.S. by storm, and it never happened because he's pulling dumb stuff in the cage. Hopefully he's got that past him. He comes from a very tough camp, and I hope I see the Simtex that I'm used to seeing.
Yeah, I agree. Quiggins, outside of the 2 fights we've mentioned, the main event and the co-main event between Daly and a guy who I actually think is tough in Andre Santos, is there another fight you're interested in seeing here?
I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
Oh.
The Vassell fight, because, I mean, Vassell put up a pretty good fight against Newton, and, Sokoju's kind of, making his way back, whether or not he's fighting, top-tier competition,
Yeah.
I think it'll be an interesting fight to see. I mean, because this gets set up, a next step for whoever's going to challenge for that title next. Now that we don't have tournaments anymore,
right?
I am actually that as a British versus British fight. So,
yeah, I'm actually going to go with a preliminary card fight. Yeah, I'm digging that deep for a Bellator card here, and I'm going to go with Tamden McCrory versus Jason Butcher. If you guys remember, Tamden McCrory's last fight came in as an underdog against Brendan Ward, and landed what could have been in the contention for knockout of the year. It was such a brutal knockout, and of course it took place on the prelims, so nobody saw it. But if you saw it, and if you haven't, go check it when we're done with this. He put him down violently. So I'm very interested to see if Tamden McCrory can follow that up. You know, he's a UFC veteran. He hasn't, hasn't been there in a while, but he's taken on a guy in Jason Butcher who claims to have the best guard in MMA. I don't know if that's true or not, but we'll see. And if he can keep Butcher on the feet, he could put him down, and that's not a knockout you're going to want to miss. So I kind of dug deep for that one there. Okay, so since we are going to skip the Legacy FC card, we're going to talk about a little news piece before we briefly talk about wrestling for a second. There was released a YouTube video, I believe it was last night, of Josh Neer beating the crap out of somebody in his gym. From what we later found out, it was a guy who had been challenging to a fight on social media, and Neer invited him to his gym to spar. And what we saw basically was Josh Neer, when the 15 seconds that the video was on top of him, raining down punches and elbows, and as he was pulled off by his teammates, threw a little extra soccer kick in there. I don't know if it landed cleanly, but he threw it nonetheless. So I'll throw this to Quiggins first. Should we be concerned about this video, and what do you think is going to come of it?
I mean, I would have been more concerned had the evidence not surfaced. Do I think it was the most professional thing to do? No. But I mean, I'm not going to walk into, Royce Gracie's gym and say that I could submit him and that, he's going down. So really not comparing the two guys, but you don't go in and challenge an MMA fighter and tell him you're going to knock him out, you're going to submit him, he's nothing. I mean, I think that really got to Neer's pride. And like I said, do I think the video was justified? Maybe not, but at the same time, the guy might have had it coming.
Okay, Wayne, your thoughts?
My thoughts are, if you're an MMA fighter, you have controlled aggression. You're going to have people talking all the time because you are an MMA fighter. And granted, Josh Neer is a name. He's been around a long time. He's fought in the UFC. Of course somebody's going to challenge you because there's idiots out there. Second off, unfortunately, this gives the state of New York more ammo against MMA, which we do not need right now. We have 2 or 3 states that have legislation pushing right now to ban MMA again. So unfortunately, this is a little black eye. It's not as big as everybody's making it out to seem, but it's bad nonetheless. And it's unfortunate. Walk away, dude. You know you're gonna beat the dude up. Why prove it? Just let the dude talk. If he comes at you first, then by all means put him on his ass, then walk away.
Interesting take. I myself, I have a little less sympathy for people that talk, crap and then get their ass kicked. Because I've been one of those guys before too. That's how I learned my lesson. But if you're gonna challenge a fighter and go to a gym and fight him, and you're trying to knock his head off, he's gonna try and knock your head off too. And and everyone was concerned about this guy, getting hurt or whatever. And even after the incident was over, I had seen some Facebook posts after the incident happened where he was still kind of calling out Neer and calling him a bitch and all this stuff. So he was like, "Oh no, I'm not hurt. Neer couldn't hurt me. He's a bitch and stuff." So I don't feel bad for him whatsoever. He had it coming for him. He was asking for it. He got it, and he's still talking. So. And Wayne, I can understand what you're saying with the controlled aggression thing. You're absolutely right, but this guy, I always have something called the train of consequences theory. The guy doesn't talk crap. He doesn't come to the gym to actually throw down for a fight. He doesn't get put in that position to be pretty much beaten up on camera by a guy who's professionally trained and has been fighting for over a decade. So I mean, that's just my take on it. But you're right. I'm sure it doesn't look great on the MMA community right now.
Unfortunately, the word you just used is professional. That was not professional. He got blasted with like 5 elbows that literally knocked the dude out. Just give him one hit, walk away. That's my whole point. Is it was unprofessional.
Here's the thing also I run into, unfortunately, is everyone always in the MMA media and everything just tries to clean up the image of MMA. It is literally professional fighting.
Cockfighting.
And I know that there are times to not do things, but again, this guy came to the gym talking about how he's going to knock you out and how he's going to rock you and he's better than you and he's going to beat the crap out of you. And you don't think that happens from time to time? I mean, I've heard stories of guys, the way they got into gyms is they got jumped into gyms, and that's just a tradition, and it may not be a good tradition, but it's fighting. They're testing your spirit and all this stuff. Now, this is a little bit different than that, but again, the guy asked for it. I mean, if a guy's asking for it, you give it to him. I think the soccer kick might have been overdoing it a little bit, but again, you don't show up to the gym. You don't challenge a professional MMA fighter to a fight. You don't get kicked in the skull. I think Matt wanted to say something, so I'm going to let Matt talk for a second here.
No, I was going to let Wayne go.
Oh, okay, sorry. Wayne, go ahead.
I really understand it.
I understand where you're coming from, and yeah, by all means, the guy had it coming. It's just that from the, like you said, from the 15 seconds, Mir hits him, or Near hits him, 1, 2, 2 elbows, stops, sees the guy is covered up, and then throws some more. I understand you're mad and all, but like I said, it's controlled aggression. If you want to show the guy a lesson, okay, you showed him his lesson. Apparently, he hasn't learned it. So what are you going to do again? Kick his ass again? Like, what is that going to prove?
Well, I mean, if it was me, I think I would. That's just, I don't know.
But you're not the professor.
Coming up and learning the hard way. I mean, you're right. I guess there's really no justification, but if you're going to show up to a fighting gym, you can't expect that everything's going to be all daisies and roses. So, it's we'll see what happens. I don't really, Bloody Elbow got, I think first exclusive talk to Near after it happened, and we got both sides of the story. So, it's whatever. There's not much we can do about it at this point. I don't think it's going to cause too much of a stir, as you were saying with the legislation. I'm sure it won't help any, but I don't think it'll hurt that much.
Thing about New York is they're still pulling articles from 93 and 94 saying this is that's what the legislation's doing. Go look it up. That's what they're doing. And they're gonna. This is just more ammo for them to say, well, why do we need it in New York?
Yeah, and no, that's a fair enough point. Legal. Yeah, that's what I also don't understand. Amateur fighting is legal, but professional.
That makes no sense to me, by the way.
It's the stupidest thing ever. It's like, oh, you can fight for free here, but you're not going to get paid,
Yeah.
So I don't know how that makes a lot of sense, but that's neither here nor there. Now we're just going off on tangents. So before we get going here, just want to discuss the wrestling aspect of this as we usually do. Just for chance, I don't think either of you watched the Fastlane pay-per-view, did you?
No.
No, okay. The Fastlane pay-per-view was very hit and miss on the matches. I think that some of the matches were very good, some were very poor or suffered from lack of time. The main event between Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan was a great, great match, and I kind of expected that. Daniel Bryan can usually carry a match, but there's no doubt Roman Reigns, held it on his own as well. As for the other good match, Rusev versus John Cena, that was actually very good too. I actually didn't think it was going to be as good, seeing as they're both very big guys who I wouldn't really call ring generals, but it was a very good match in that own right. And the Tag Team Championship match was the other good one that I thought. The Usos versus Cesaro and Tyson Kidd. With Cesaro and Tyson Kidd surprisingly taking the titles, I thought that was a great booking move there. Because they are a team that they can get behind that works well, and they have a chance to now develop as a team. So Fastlane though also suffered from bad matches and lack of time and stuff. So they tried to fit a lot in a little bit of time. So it was kind of it was an average pay-per-view. I'd say it was probably a C. But we'll obviously, it sets up WrestleMania, Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar, assuming he doesn't have the contract issues that there's rumored to be right now. But the follow-up Raw last night, we had the return of Randy Orton at Fastlane. But I think Wayne said he kind of saw it on mute, the opening of the Raw last night. A lot of stuff they had last night didn't make sense. A lot of filler, a lot of short matches that just didn't have time to work out. And it was really just not a great episode. And I found myself kind of just having it in the background while I did other things because I just couldn't even bother watching the matches. So, it was kind of overall a week, 48 hours for the WWE there. So we'll see what happens going forward. But Other than that, I don't really have much to say about wrestling there. I think that's going to about do it for us here. Either one of you guys want to talk about anything else randomly about MMA?
I almost want to be excited that they finally booked the Verdum Velasquez fight, but I'll let you know when it actually happens.
Yes, it is. It is official. There are a few fights also booked for that card. I believe.
It's not official until Kane walks in that cage.
Good
Yeah,
point.
right.
Yes, Cain Velasquez is very injury prone, and I think we've seen that in the past. But if that card stays intact, I think they have a nice little card there, just based off of the heavyweight title bout. And if they could add some depth around it, I think that'll be an interesting card. But yeah, good to bring that up. It is official for now, but as Wayne says, we'll see if we can make it that far. So for that, we are going to sign off here. Again, remember to go to combatpress.com for interviews, prediction pieces, opinions, all that good stuff. Follow them on Twitter at Combat Press. Myself, follow me at BigRilesMMA.com. Still far away from that 1 million viewers, but we'll get there eventually. For Wayne Dumas, follow him on Twitter at DumasMMA.com. You can see that handsome man on the screen right there with the facial hair and the red headphones. And then our buddy Matt Quiggins, our usual co-host, who looks like Daniel Bryan's, uncle. He is at Quiggins MMA. You can follow him there on Twitter. We're still looking for him to get a Fedora sponsor. So if you know any good Fedora companies looking to get a plug on this show.
Kangol.
Kangol. What is he, LL Cool J?
They make great hats.
I'm sure they do. But if you are looking to, cheap plug on this crap show, good show, you can do that. So for all of us at Combat Press, I'm Riley Context signing off for the night. Enjoy the fights this weekend. There are plenty of them to go around.